Good.
How do you sort of refocus, I guess, a little bit, coming off the game that was postponed? You're all gearing up for Salt Lake. Now you're gearing up here for Chicago.
Yeah, it feels eerily reminiscent of the start of the season. You know, you put 6 weeks of work in for preseason, and the game doesn't happen, and guys are focused on the game. So you just got to regroup. You know, we came in on Saturday, and we tried to play an inter squad 11v11 just to keep our rhythm that we've had. Gave them a couple days off, and then again just try to ramp up the intensity of the session, just change the faces and the jerseys on the opponent, and keep moving forward. So I know the group is anxious to get going. It's felt like a long break, so it's important again that we get off to a good early clean start and get ourselves built into this final stage.
How many scrimmages have you had since you left?
Three now, yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean we're looking at each other a lot. So just trying to, there's not many teams who are available right now to get games. So it's a lot of. The good thing is we've got a lot of numbers involved, with the additions that we have and the guys that we have around. We've got plenty of guys to play 11v11 and have a couple subs. But it's just again, at some point you get tired of playing each other and you want to see somebody else on that other side. So, but the mentality's been great through this process, and I think again, like I said, we're looking forward to getting it started for real.
And as you bring in these new guys, you be able to work them into the scrimmages, and what have you seen out of them as you've gone through these scrimmages?
Guys are going to help us. I mean, they're going to help us. So, with Maya and Sharpie specifically, who are coming from an off season, they've needed the time to get their fitness and their legs under them, which has been good for them. The other guys who've been in season, it's just been acclimating to kind of the group and what we're asking, things like that. Obviously for those two, but yeah, it's given us some time to integrate them, for them to understand our game model, our principles, things like that, what we're playing for, with and without the ball. So it's given us some time, and they're going to help us. There's no question about that, and we're excited. Like I said many a times now, just the environment is competitive. It's really competitive because there's guys competing to play, there's guys competing to start, there's guys pushing each other in all of these games. We've gotten a little more, we've added some maturity, especially some guys who really understand our league, but also with Sharpie and with Maya, guys who've been captains of their teams in other places. So it felt the maturity of the group, the level raised a little bit in this window as well.
Hey Greg, just what's the status of Mark Delgado? Is he ready to go for Saturday?
Mark's been doing well, so he's trained full the last couple of days. Today we didn't do a ton, but he was into everything. So barring anything that I'm not fully expecting, he might be able to be involved this weekend. So I don't know if he's quite ready to start. We need to get just more sessions, more fitness under him too. But he's a guy that picks that up quickly, so I'm not too concerned. Now it's just a matter of the security. If we're minimizing the risk of him going back out there again, and so we'll kind of assess that over the next day or so and make a final decision. But I like the progress he's certainly been making the last 3-4 days.
And your thoughts on the Chicago team you guys are going to face off against?
Yeah, just again an organized team, difficult to play against. They could sit in a relatively low block, play us on the counter. They've got some guys who can hurt you. Obviously, Shaqiri is a guy who can play make and can pull some strings. Kai can score goals. Shibrilko can score goals. They've got guys who you got to take account for. We'll see how they play. I mean, I think the biggest thing for us is to try to find our rhythm inside of another match as quickly as we can, without errors, and just try to build our way into it. And I think once we do that and we get the rhythm and the flow and the tempo of everything that we need to, I think we'll be in a good spot. But they're a good team. Every team we play is a hard game, especially this time of year when everybody's looking at the standings and they understand on some level what they need to keep moving towards the playoffs. And so we'll have to manage the situation and be effective in the big moments, in the key moments. We need to score goals when we create opportunities, and we need to protect our box and protect our goal. Those are the two things that I think we need to be more consistent at, and just thinking about us.
Sharp, is he visa?
He's actually there right now. He had his appointment today. So depending on the speed at which he gets his passport back and gets back to here, will determine his availability for the weekend. So we'll see. I mean, he's made some strides, obviously, in the in the fitness and integration into the group over the last week and change. So we'll see if hopefully he can get his passport back quickly and get back here and get something accomplished tomorrow and maybe be ready for being involved on the weekend. I'll know more once I hear how that's playing out.
Did you have to fly out somewhere?
He did, yeah. I flew out to get to Vancouver.
Vancouver.
Yeah, Vancouver, actually that's not true. He went to Calgary. They switched it over to Calgary, so yeah.
Same
Same.
Well, wait a minute, the camera's rolling. Last year, I mean, you're sort of in the same spot as last year. You made a late season run to get to the playoffs. This year, I think you got to jump a lot more teams than last year, I believe. What's the mindset going into when you look at the standings? What do you see, and how does that affect coming into this game here and then the rest of the way?
It really is about us getting results. We got to get on a run. You know, we've got to pick up, get on a series of wins. You do that, and you can close the gap fast. We obviously have a couple games in hand on some teams too, and if you can make do with those, then the gap actually isn't that big. It's 4 points maybe instead of what looks like 10. So we've got to take advantage of the games in hand, and we've got to, again, get on a run where we are, especially at home, where we're getting wins. And if we can do a really good job of winning at home, and because I think we have 7 of 12 at home, if we can do a good job of getting our 3 points at home, then take some of the stress off of some of those road games, where if we can pick up a couple along the way, we're probably in a pretty good spot. But us, we just got to maintain focus like we did last year. It's one game at a time. Each game is kind of a playoff knockout type of mentality. Play each play with the right concentration, and make sure that we take our chances when we get them, and and play each game like it's our own version of a playoff game, because that's kind of the state of where we're at.
I wanted to ask you, Greg, kind of similar to Damien's question. You guys are obviously kind of without the game time, liking that match sharpness. Now, having the stretch, having the last game suspended, with a lot of midweek games in between, all these games kind of culminating together, do you find that as a positive, or is that maybe a bit of challenge for this final stretch?
I mean, anytime you push games together tight, it creates a certain level of challenge, because you're going to ask your roster to be probably thinned out a little bit. But I think given the additions that we've had, we're more prepared for that than we've ever been all season. I think the games coming back to back don't give you a lot of time to kind of reset and process and grow from the last game and prepare yourself for the next. But I know our guys will want to get back on the field, and if we can get on a run, like you have 3 games in a week, if you can pick up 3 wins in a week, and all of a sudden your fortune looks a lot different and your future looks a lot different than it did before. So there's pros and cons to it always, but I know guys are ready to play, and so I think getting this game in under our belt, and we'll quickly focus on the next one, and so on and so forth, because there's our season looks like 12 games until we make some progress and hopefully open the door for some playoff opportunity.
Aside from Mark, is the only injury concern?
Yes, I mean, we've been managing Jalen through this stretch, just in terms of the kind of the overuse. Pubalgie I think they call it, osteitis pubis sort of thing. So it's just been managing his volume just to try to help him recover. But generally speaking, he's in a decent spot. That's it. Okay.
Thanks, Greg.
Thank you.
Thank you, Greg.
Appreciate it. Thanks.